Episode 042 with Jo Marie. This episode was brought to you by Megaworld International and Nanette Belista from Kangen Water. Hello everyone, I'm so thrilled that you are listening to this episode of the One Voice Can Change the World podcast. I'm so excited that you're here because we've had so much going on these past few months. I really hope and pray that you and your family and friends are all safe and you're looking after yourselves. These past few months have been very challenging, but at the same time, it's made me appreciate what I have, like my family, that they're all healthy and that they're well. And also, even though my gigs have all cancelled and my student enrollments have gone down, I do appreciate the time for me to slow down and just keep up the creation and keep up the learning. One of the things that was really exciting is I had just finished my online singing concert with my students, my One Voice students. So normally we have the mid-year concert, which we hold live at a concert venue, but this year we've had to hold it online because of COVID, and I'm really excited to let you know that it went really well. We had an amazing turnout from people all around the world, and it's really funny. I just got a message just then from a parent, and a lot of the children actually dove into songwriting these past few terms, and we created the songs from scratch and then they performed it. So a lot of the kids performed something that was close to their hearts, and one parent just messaged me and she said, just letting you know that the Western Sydney Health Area Service page has asked Matthew to record his songs for the page. He has been invited to record and make a video on the Facebook page. So that was really exciting because he did a song that was a tribute to the frontliners. So that's so exciting. I'm so happy that he has that opportunity. But also the idea of these kids creating songs and just really putting their feelings out there. It's so important during this time where it's quite hard for them to express their feelings, and some of them, they're as young as 7 that they created songs. It's really amazing what they've done. I also wanted to let you know about this competition that is being held by myself and Megaworld International and Kangen Water. So if you visit my page, you can enter it www.tinabangle.com/win. Okay, so if you visit that page, all you need to do is just add your details in there, and then you have a chance to win 2 nights accommodation at a 5-star hotel, which is valued at $300 from Megaworld International. And this is transferable, so you can use it and there's no expiry date. You can transfer it to somebody else who lives in the Philippines, or if you're going to travel in the future to the Philippines, you're welcome to use that if you win it. And then also you get a chance to win $200 worth of linen by Kangen Water, and some really fun goodies as well if you book in for their water demonstration. And it's amazing water, it's alkaline water, and it's really, really super beneficial to the body. And then you also have a chance to win my 6-week online singing course, Singing Mastery, the One Voice Method. Plus, you also get a chance to win my children's ebook, My Lola. So there's quite a few exciting prizes. Don't forget to join and register your name at tinabangle.com/win, and we are going to draw that competition in August. So let's introduce you to my amazing guests, and we're going to chat about mental health and the power of music. Welcome to One Voice Can Change the World podcast. I'm your host, Tina Bangle, vocal coach and professional vocalist. In each episode, we bring you an inspiring person doing wonders in the music industry today. We hope to give you motivating messages to help you navigate towards your musical dreams. I'm so grateful you're here, and now let's give you something to sing about. Hello, everybody. Welcome to One Voice Can Change the World podcast. I'm your host, Tina Bangle, and I'd love to introduce you to my amazing guest. Her name is Jo Marie, and she specialises in coaching individuals and groups for positive change using a strength-based approach, primarily focusing on enhancing well-being, building resilience, and providing strategies for life and optimisation. She also integrates mindset coaching into her tailored music lessons and workshops to enhance learning, engagement, perseverance, self-esteem, and core confidence. So without further ado, let's welcome Jo Marie. Hi, Jo.
Hi, Tina. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you for the incredible introduction.
I'm so happy that we were able to make this work because we've been talking about this for a while and we've known each other for how long now? Maybe 3 years or so?
3 years? Yeah, that sounds right.
And we actually met through Lewis Howe's School of Greatness, which kind of we all got brought together and we found a core group to meet up each week and we'd chat about what we were doing in our business. So I'm so glad you're able to be on the program.
Thank you so much for having me today.
You're welcome. So tell our audience about who you are, what you do, and how did you get into music?
Most definitely. So I'm a positive psychology coach and personal development, a music teacher, and the founder of Create Your Life Academy. So Create Your Life Academy, as you mentioned earlier, I run a lot of group programs under that name as well. I'm also a youth mentor and I do some workshops within our local community here in Mildura. And also the mission behind the business, I guess, is what sort of drives those creative ideas, which we'll go into throughout this conversation today. But I guess looking at how I can enhance wellbeing within our local community. And of course, it goes bigger than that too. So being driven to build wellbeing instead of focusing on those languishing aspects of mental health. Because when we think of mental health, sometimes it can be like, oh, this is a problem sort of thing. How can we fix this? Whereas my approach is more, okay, what can we do to build wellbeing and how can we actually experience a thriving life? So those kind of questions are actually what led me to start the business.
I love that. It's so good. And I see the importance of it because for me, I have my singing school, and the reason why I created my singing school was because of all those reasons that you spoke about. I saw the importance of the confidence building and the self-esteem building, and especially in kids as well. And I noticed you've got a lot of instruments in the background.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Even so, in my role as a music teacher, so at the moment I'm at Mildura Academy of Music and Performance, which is a team that I'm part of. So as well as having my own business, I love just being around people as well. The music lessons we run here and the programs we run here as well, as you would know, being a music teacher, it's so much more than just teaching an instrument, because in the process, for instance, I had a student last year, I was like, what was your biggest learning this year? And I was waiting for him to say, oh, this song, I got through this song, or I learned this scale. And he goes, I really feel that I developed more confidence in myself and I show up differently at school now, and I stepped into like a leadership role. And he was like in grade 5 or 6 or something. Oh. So it just goes to show that it's just so much bigger than just learning an instrument, because they develop that confidence in themselves because they set a goal and then they achieve that goal. And it shows that commitment, that determination, and learning the skill is something that they can achieve.
Yeah, and I noticed that too now that, because I was doing online teaching singing lessons last term. So I kind of had to change the way that I taught, because it's really hard to do the music over Zoom because there's that lag, and Zoom's trying to figure out, block out the noise, which is the music that we're trying to play. So I dived into songwriting with the kids, which is so much fun. And it was a way to not only create these songs, but it was a way to find out what was important for the kids, what's important in their lives, and what do they want to speak about, what do they want to talk about. We dived into more of their personality, and I got to know them much better.
Fantastic. I love that. Adapt. I think you used the word adapt. So adapting to those changes. And was the songwriting something you'd done previously before the Zoom calls?
No, it wasn't. There were some students that I thought, yeah, they're ready to do songwriting, and like we dived into doing that. But then majority of my students were like, that was the first time they did songwriting, so we had to like go from the very basic. We went into branding, which is really fun. Yeah, and then they ended up doing like social media marketing, all the stuff that we pretty much learn. I just like, let's see how they go about this. What I love about the marketing, and you'd know this too, is that, you're building up your brand, but then you get to know more about yourself.
So true. It's like an authentic personal brand. It's like a self-discovery process as well. It's like when you go into business or you go into the creative arts, you learn so much about yourself. It's like rapid personal development in a way.
Yeah, that's right. How did you get into music yourself? When did it start, and was it part of your upbringing?
Fantastic question. So I was thinking about this at coffee earlier in my break, and I went right back. I was trying to think, when did it all actually begin? So I do remember myself like 2 or 3 years old, dancing around the house listening to Fleetwood Mac and just pretending to be Stevie Nicks, like in my little hairbrush.
Yeah.
But I guess I did have a lot of music around me growing up. There was always a guitar in the house, and I think it was very natural for me by the time I got to about grade 6, where we were making decisions about high school, like what subjects we wanted to take. There was an opportunity to actually have instrumental lessons, which was something that we didn't have in primary school. So I got to make a decision in that moment, whether it would be drums, singing, piano, guitar, and I picked guitar. So that sort of really set the tone for what would come next. So I started learning guitar, and as soon as I was able to just strum chords, and I'd sit there for hours. So it's interesting thinking back. I would actually sit there for hours just practicing because I was so determined to be able to string together a chord progression. And I remember it almost like it was yesterday. I was just, as soon as I could strum a chord progression, I started writing. So I was just writing, and anything that kind of came up for me, I'd just write about it and I'd sing it. And it was often things that I struggled to talk about as a kid. And I don't think I quite understood what was happening at the time, but some of it was just processing. I'd lost my mum when I was quite young, and I hadn't actually processed that. So I didn't have the awareness or the support at the time to know how to work through that grief. So as soon as music came into my life, as soon as I could actually play an instrument, it's interesting how it all just started coming out through that platform. And I think it was a year into learning guitar, I wrote a song that was about community through the eyes of young people. And I wrote this song, had a tape, a little cassette tape, and I put it into my one of those it's not a boom box, but it was one of those things with the tape recorders and you can hit record on it. And I wrote this song called Try Again. And the song, at such a young age, I was already thinking, okay, I want to make an impact in this community, because we were having a lot of droughts, a lot of water seemed to be a concern within our local community. So I was like, okay, how can we bring more awareness to this? So I wrote a song about it. And I didn't actually think anything of it. I just wrote it. I entered it in the competition because it was part of my English class. We had to do this activity. So the lyrics were all done. And I remember 2 weeks later, my English teacher called me into the room and she said, "You've actually won this competition. I thought I'd let you know." And I just sort of froze because I was quite shy back then. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations to your younger self.
My younger self was the first thing I'd won.
That's so cool.
That's it's amazing how those moments, they can really kind of be like a bit of a domino effect in our lives. And I think if that didn't happen, I'm not sure what direction I would have gone in with life, but that was quite a pivotal moment.
That's so good. Yeah, and it's so good that you were able to take that moment and notice that it felt really good and then just kind of gravitated towards that. Yeah, I think that's what we need to remind ourselves, that what feels good, we keep doing more of that. So
absolutely, tuning in and listening.
Yeah, it's so true. You've been pretty much like a face of Mildura. How did that come about? That's pretty cool.
Oh, thank you. That's quite a funny story. I'm so glad I get to actually share this because I haven't gone into detail with how this actually happened behind the scenes. So I used to run my business out of Mildura Regional Development. So Mildura Regional Development is essentially the central hub in Mildura when it comes to economical development and also tourism. So it was the hub for tourism. And I used to work in a space right at the front of the building called the Glass House. And it was such a nice space, plenty of natural light. So it felt quite innovative to walk in, quite creative to come up with new ideas. So I just kind of worked through there to build Create Your Life Academy, to build my music lessons up as well. And I went in one day and I was just busy working on my laptop, and I heard there's a lady in the office called Kirsten that worked with the team, and she stuck her head around the corner and she's like, "Jo." And I was like, "Yes, Kirsten, what's going on?" She goes, "So I have a big favour to ask." I was like, "Okay, hit me." And she goes, "All right, so we are filming a commercial for Mildura Tourism. There's going to be quite a few scenes. It's going to be more of a movie story kind of commercial. So for an ad, it would go for about 2 to 3 minutes is what I was told, which is huge for a commercial.
Yeah.
A lot of work involved for a 2-minute commercial." And she's like, "Would you like to be in it?" And I was like, "Oh, me? No, like I can't do that, but I can think of someone else that can do it." I'm like, "But when do you need it by?" She goes, "Well, it's tomorrow." And I was like, "Okay, so you need someone now." So I started thinking about, okay, who can I call? Who can I do this? And she was looking quite stressed. And she goes, "Do you have anyone that you might actually, please, can you do this? And do you have anyone that you might be able to do this with you?" And I asked her, I was like, "Okay, in what capacity?" And she goes, "Well, you need to pretend that you're actually in a relationship." So it'll be a little bit of acting involved. So I was like, "Okay." And because it was quite quick and I was thinking, well, I had to tap in, to be honest, and ask, is this actually in alignment with what I'm about? I think the idea of actually experiencing, like being plugged into that beautiful experience of going to different locations in Mildura, of promoting our region, and the fact that doing something like that's really good for your well-being, it's really good for mental health. And when I kind of realized that, it was like, yes, let's do it. And it's completely out of my comfort zone. So that's pretty much where I was at. I'm like, this is something that's completely out of my comfort zone. And the reason I was resisting it is because it was something new. It was something I hadn't actually done before. So I got on the phone to my friend Carlos Cirillo and I told him about it and he said yes. So we ended up jumping in, and the next day we found ourselves at the Mildura Farmers Markets holding coffee, walking around, being filmed, and it was pretty much something that neither of us probably would have imagined could have happened, but we said yes to the opportunity. We said yes to getting out of our comfort zones, having fun with it because we're best friends anyway. And we thought, you know what, it's a bit of fun. We get to enjoy this. And
Yeah.
that's how that all happened.
That's so cool. I love those opportunities. So glad that you took that opportunity and that you brought your friend along. Did anything else come about from that?
That's such a good question. So what I noticed was just being aware of my own resistance to it at first, for instance, because I'd had behind the scenes, so we'll get a little bit vulnerable behind the scenes, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, I'd had some scarring like on my face, and it wasn't too long after I'd had some surgery as well. So I was in a weird kind of mindset around sort of not wanting to be like in front of a camera a whole lot around that time frame. But I think it really helped me overcome that. So it helped me overcome holding myself back and really being okay with embracing my imperfections, embracing who I am as a person, and knowing that it really doesn't matter.
I'm so glad that you were able to do it and that you were able to open up more opportunities for yourself. And did it help you in your business as well? Like, did you get more clients and students and people saying, "Oh my God, you're in that commercial"?
Yes, it actually did. So that's one thing I actually didn't expect going into it. But I just launched my music lessons within the community. I was doing one day a week at the local music store, and my phone wouldn't stop ringing is the first thing I noticed, because I built that trust within the community, which is a big thing. It's like if people see you on TV, suddenly it's like, oh, you're not someone we don't know, we've seen you. So they felt comfortable to approach and start guitar lessons. And a big one we had as well was with myself and Carlo, actually. As we were doing this commercial, by the way, behind the scenes, what you don't see is what we were actually talking about as we were canoeing along the river.
Right.
Up Kings Billabong, was business ideas. We're like, how can we put together a workshop? Yeah, so how can we put together a workshop to support our community with their wellbeing, with mindset, with navigating difficult times? And we were brainstorming. So from that, we ended up putting together 2 workshops. So we did one for the local community, and we collaborated with 2 local yoga teachers as well. So it was quite a nice event in the evening. And we also did one for our local chemist warehouse, which was probably the biggest event I had done in that capacity at that point. So that was like comfort zone stretch 1 was doing the ad, comfort zone stretch 2 was actually speaking. Doing my first speaking engagement to a room full of people.
Yeah. I think I remember you posting about that. See, I mean, that's the thing that why I love opportunities is that things like that happen. And then it as you said before, like it's a domino effect, and it's exciting. It's exciting. It makes your day different compared to like having to go to office, to the office and doing the same things all the time. It's a nice break.
Absolutely agreed. Yeah.
So is your friend Carlos, is he a musician as well?
Carlo?
Carlo.
All good. Yeah, Carlo does soccer. So it's funny because we come from 2 different sides of the track. I don't know what I'm saying with that. But yeah, he used to do soccer, like semi-professional soccer, a little bit like Lewis Howes, like semi-professional pro athlete. His background now is in coaching as well. So he's transitioned from soccer he had a graphic design business, and now he's doing coaching in the Conscious Collective and runs the Conscious podcast as well.
Tell me more about your Create Your Life Academy, because you've got a lot of things happening in your academy as well. So did you want to tell us about what you do there?
Most definitely. So Create Your Life Academy, over the last 2 years, I've spent a lot of time creating content, and of course, I'm a creative individual. So I ended up building 4 different programs within the academy, and they're all programs I thought were necessary pillars to support people. So when people come into, well, when they inquire to work with me, they often ask, okay, this is where I'm at with something. And depending on what their goals are, what their challenges are, what the obstacles they're facing could be, I can kind of point them in the right direction to see which one of those programs would be a good fit for them, whether that's doing some strengths coaching, doing the strength-based program, which is one I absolutely love, the wellbeing program, the mindset program, if there are some deeper level patterns or thoughts or work that we need to do on mindset. And we also have the mindfulness program as well.
How are you finding your work in terms of like how it's helping not only you share your knowledge about, you know, the mindset, but what are you noticing with your clients as well?
Amazing question. So I was actually speaking to one of my clients last night, and she shared with me, she tagged me in a post, and she's like, you need to see this because the strategies are working. I thought, okay, the strategies are working. Let's have a look at this. So just to complement what you were saying before, a lot of people tend to come into Create Your Life Academy, or they'll send me an email, send me a message, and it's often something external that they want to change. And that even there's a behavior that they just want to change. But to some degree, it's not until you go inwards and go, okay, but what's my paradigm around this? What are my subconscious beliefs around this? Because that's what is influencing the behaviors and the actions that we're taking, and to get the result that we are creating, whether it's a result that's helping us or a result that's hindering us, that's not what we actually want to achieve. So what's really incredible to see is when people make this shift on that deeper level and they shift out those limiting beliefs that more often than not have been holding them back their entire lives. And when they make that shift, it's like one of the coolest things to get to be part of, to support someone through. There's often tears sometimes, in a good way. Like, it's just like, oh my gosh, there's this realization. Sometimes it's just like, oh, yes, like I just realized this and I changed this, and now everything around me is starting to match that. And it can be habits. So it's like changing your mindset, changing your, just to actually give you a genuine example, if you have a deeper belief that you are not worthy or that you're not good enough, that's going to translate into your external world, like what kind of results you're creating or not creating. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you are able to create a shift there and transform that, and I'm just landing the plane really quickly on this, it's interesting what opens up, like what opportunities that we're able to create for ourselves when we come from that space.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe are you able to like give maybe 3 examples on how to open that up for people? Like what are some of the things that you suggest for some of your clients to do?
Definitely. Fear has been a big thing. Especially in our recent times, a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty has been coming up. So there's one model to start with I'll share, which is the growth versus fixed mindset. And this is by Dr. Carol Dweck. I do a little bit of this in my positive psychology course. I'm working on my master's at the moment, slowly behind the scenes. Now, the fixed mindset is often when we don't allow ourselves to be uncomfortable. We like that comfort. We like that certainty. We avoid challenges. We tend to get defensive. We give up easily. We ignore useful feedback, which is a big one. It's like we shut down, we ignore feedback, even if it feels a bit triggering. That could ultimately help us create a change. And we tend to be threatened by the success of others. So as a result, we give up earlier instead of persisting, instead of continuing on with what that goal is, despite wanting to achieve that goal. So bringing awareness to the fixed mindset, and what areas of our lives that we're using that in, for instance, can be really beneficial, because you might be fine in a work capacity, whereas in relationships you might have that fixed mindset. In your personal life, it's different for everyone. So looking at the fixed mindset, but then looking at the growth mindset and understanding what the growth mindset is, which is looking at embracing challenges and persisting in the face of setbacks. It's seeing failure seeing effort as a path to mastery. So you put in the effort to get the result. You don't just sit back and do nothing. And then learning from criticism or learning from failure. So instead of going, and getting defensive if there's some feedback, you embrace it, you welcome it, you get excited by it. If anything, you're like, oh, yes, tell me more. And finding lessons and inspiration in the success of others. And as a result, we achieve those higher levels of achievement. So that's one model I just thought I'd share just straight off the bat, because that applies. I do this in this music room, actually. So with my music students, with my coaching clients as well. And I use it every single day myself as well.
That's great that you've created these options for people to work with you in that way.
I'm currently running the Optimize Your Wellbeing and Life program, which is a 6-week program looking at the science of wellbeing. So it's a positive psychology-based program, and I'm running them with core groups. So they're small groups of about 2 to 4 people. So it just has that core group feeling. They all keep themselves accountable as well, and they have me as a coach. So I'm loving that, because it's my first intake of this fresh program.
Great.
And running a Strengthen Your Wellbeing in the workplace workshop as well within our local community as well. From a music perspective as well, just where I am at the moment, I also help put together the MAMP Minis program, so the Mildura Academy of Music and Performance programs here. And they're for kids who are aged between 1 to 4, so they're quite young. And one of the programs I thought I'd share, because you might find this interesting, was putting together a health week. And it's getting creative on how can we actually help support kids with their wellbeing during this time, and parents who come along as well, who bring the kids in, how can they benefit from this? Because it is quite a challenging time at the moment. And when we bring music into the equation, music can really help alleviate stress. It can help strengthen our immune system to some degree as well, letting go of that stress, processing emotions that might be coming up as well. So the health week for the kids is one of the songs is, about washing your hands. But when you put it into music, it sort of changes the energy around it. It's a bit more fun. Then we've got movement as well. So knowing that, it's good for our bodies to be moving and making sure we're getting in exercise and so forth, staying hydrated, brushing our teeth. So again, this is just looking at that younger age group, but it's awesome to see how this topic of wellbeing, how that mission can translate into all these different areas, whether it's music, whether it's coaching. And the best thing about it all, in all honesty, Tina, is just seeing people benefit from it. So it was never about me. It was about helping build this community and their wellbeing especially during this time, even more so.
How many students do you have?
Ooh, good question. So with our social distancing at the moment, we're feeding about 5, I think there's 5 per group, 5 to 8 per group, and we're running about 3 to 4 workshops a week. So it's built up over time. So we only started with one day and it's slowly grown.
Oh, that's so fun. Have you tried online stuff? Are you planning to do online?
Yeah, so we haven't done the minis online, but we were doing the individual lessons, and I was doing individual lessons online as well. So just guitar, singing, drums. And like you mentioned at the start of the call, it's funny when you do try play a track, sometimes we had those technical difficulties too.
It's been a challenge, but I've had a student that was from New York, and we've had a really good time just really focusing on pitch. So we use this app called On Pitch.
Cool.
So then that way he can figure out whether he's sharp or whether he's flat. And it's been really fun that way and it's also helped me to just really lay a good basic foundation for my students. So tell me about what your obsession is at the moment. Do you have any fun obsessions?
Oh, what a good question. I have a couple, actually. One thing I noticed that was pointed out to me, which I always knew, but it's interesting hearing it back from other people, was my love of learning and curiosity. So there's that in my strengths program, I talk about different core strengths and signature strengths that we use. And mine just seemed to go up another level during the isolation period because I had a lot of time at home to study. So I took on some extra subjects, but I definitely am quite passionate, I will say, with just learning as much as I can, especially in this space of the science of wellbeing and all the research that's out there about it. So positive psychology, looking at different methods in helping people, to the extent now I'm actually genuinely considering doing my PhD in research and just dedicating another block of years into researching this. And for just to give you an example, I went not down the rabbit hole, but I was looking at positive emotions. I'm like, well, we talk about positive emotions, but what is the science of positive emotions? So for every negative emotion, for instance, we need 3 positive emotions to counteract that. And then not only that, within the positive emotions themselves, such as awe, which I've spoken about on a previous podcast as well, but the actual positive emotion of awe helps boost your immune system. And I'm trying to think what the word was. It was like pro-inflammatory cytokines. It reduces those inflammation in the body, essentially. So it's just like...
Okay. So when you say awe, like AWE, awe?
Yes. So that feeling when you step out and you look at a beautiful night sky, or you go to a location you've never been before, like just peering out, looking at a beautiful sunset, and it's just like, wow, like just that feeling. So there's actually been research on that specific emotion, which is interesting.
Nice. We need, I mean, I think what's happening with COVID, it's brought me to realize the awe.
Yeah.
And notice a lot of awe moments in just the simplest things, like the clouds, like this morning looking at the clouds and how beautiful the clouds were. And I think during this time, I think that's what I'm grateful for those moments. And even just like gardening for me.
Oh, lovely.
Just looking at the flower and watching it grow. Like I just planted some daffodils when COVID hit, and then now they're starting to bloom. They're starting to sprout out of the ground because they're, I thought I'd just tell you that. But I think that's all for me.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine. And that focus and nurturing you put into it so it could actually grow as well would be like I'd find that quite fulfilling. Like I did that.
So you said that you've got another obsession, did you say, apart from the learning?
Yes. So I really love coffee and going to cafes. So I've since the restrictions had eased off a bit, I've ended up back in the Mildura CBD. So I was on the outskirts of Mildura, which happens to be in New South Wales because we're right on the border. So I wasn't really in town doing my normal thing.
Yeah.
But in the last week and a half, I think I've just been sitting in a cafe every single day with my laptop, with some headphones, listening to music, and just so grateful for coffee. I forgot how much I love like a barista made coffee. I actually can't stop.
Well, how many cups of coffee do you have a day?
I do limit it to 1. So I go
Yeah.
half strength as well. Otherwise I get a little bit shaky. A little bit of this happens.
Yes. Yeah.
But yes, when you said obsession, I thought I couldn't not say that one. And beautiful riverfront walks as well. So I think that's more of a love though, just getting to be by the river and taking a nice walk after work or on my break is quite good.
Oh, that's lovely. So this is a question that I ask all my interviewees. What's one song that changed your life?
Ooh, I was thinking about this question and I kind of have an answer for you. See how this lands.
Okay.
So it wasn't so much as a song as it was a soundtrack, which was The Lion King in childhood. So Hans Zimmer, composer, I remember just listening to that. It was the first album I ever owned on a CD, and I just used to listen to it again and again and again and again. And why I love it so much, why it changed my life, is because just the different moods you can create with music, the different emotions we have the capacity to experience. And I think because I was so young, it was like, in hindsight, as an adult looking back, I'm like, I understand that I needed to kind of grieve through Simba losing his dad, because I'd kind of gone through that with my mum. So just listening to that and just feeling through those emotions through the music and just the beautiful compositions. And then you've got Tim Rice with those lyrics. We had, Elton John singing some of that as well. It was just, I thought it was incredible, and it did change my life in that way. Like, I loved music. I fell completely in love with music.
That's so beautiful. How old were you at the time?
Listening to the music?
Yeah.
I think I would have been 6. So it would have been 1996, I think, is when he dropped, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So when your mum passed away, how old were you?
So I was 2, so I was super young. Yeah.
And
same age as these kids in here.
Oh, wow. Music is just so powerful, and it's so good that you were able to use it to help you to cope with things. It's very hard to articulate when you're young, like the emotions that you're going through. When I offer you the phrase, one voice can change the world, what does that mean to you?
Such a powerful question. When I hear that, I think of this quote that I heard somewhere, which is, it can begin with one voice, but it can build with others. And that gets back to one of the most incredible pieces of advice I had from someone, which was, collectively we are powerful. So it's thinking about, like, when you share your voice, like, just consider it like a ripple, but it has the potential to turn into a wave. And think of Nelson Mandela, for instance, I have a dream. How many of us have heard that? And it's just like this big impactful thing. And it came from one person, but it really connected, like, with so many, like, on a global scale.
As you said, a domino effect, it is a ripple. And then from that, you see the importance as a child, how important it is to share your gifts with the community, and that it touches community. And now you're touching the lives of not only children, but adults as well. So yeah, congratulations on your growth. And it's been wonderful to see you create all these amazing opportunities for people to discover themselves and discover their self-confidence and how to get through tough times like this. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much, Tina. I really appreciate that, and for you having me on the podcast today.
I'm so happy that you're on this and you're able to share what you do, because I thought it'll be nice for you to, like, we see you on the ads and we see your we see your beautiful pictures that you post on Facebook and Instagram, but it's really lovely to really dive into these questions with you and your beautiful work as well. How can people follow you?
If you have Instagram, I'm on Instagram as Jo Kathleen Marie. and also Create Your Life Academy. So there's 2 accounts there, and same on Facebook as well, Jo Kathleen Marie or Create Your Life Academy. I think the tag is CYLA Academy. And you can also jump on my website too, and there's heaps of free resources and content up there as well, which is just joekathleenmarie.com.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and all your work. And make sure that you go and check out Jo Marie's website and all her offerings, because she's doing wonderful things not only in her local community but around the world. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Well, there you go, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that episode with Jo Marie. Thank you again for listening, and please subscribe to this channel. And also, I'd love to hear any comments, or, if you want to connect with Jo Marie or ask her any questions, make sure you ask her in the comments below or reach out to her. And don't forget to enter our competition. It's not long until we draw it, to win those amazing prizes by Megaworld International and Kangen Water, and also from One Voice School of Singing. Visit www.tinabangle.com/win, and good luck. See you next time, everyone. Bye for now.